Why does this video start with the VHS tape loading up? What does anything in this video have to do with VHS? That's such a random, unrelated opening to this short. The ship and the long-faced sailor are not in the same position as the shot prior, in which the ship is lower, there's more foam on the water around it, and the sailor in blue, who I'll name Jimmy, isn't on the ship at all. First, we're naming the man with the orange beard Angus. Secondly, Angus's hand is weirdly stiff as he pats Jimmy's shoulder. When Jimmy punches the button, the shot freezes aside from some weird distortion caused by the motion blur, then the model of the ship is pulled to one side in the last frame. This bird, why is its head shaped like that? Wait, is that its eye? Oh man! Oh God!
Oh man! Oh God! Oh man! Oh God! Oh man! Oh God! Oh man! Oh God!
Seagulls are easily disturbed if you so much as breathe at them, let alone shake them like a bartender does their Boston shaker.
Shake it, baby.
And the cameraman was never seen again. This kelp is paper thin. Some of these heads look like they've been rotting for a while now, while some look perfectly preserved. Maybe the siren chooses which heads get affected by underwater decomposition and which don't. Also, before we get the Greek mythology majors in the comments angry at us, we're calling her a siren even though she looks like a mermaid, since her purpose in the story is the same as a siren, to lure lonely sailors away from their ships so the sirens can kill and eat them. I'm gonna remove a sin for these skulls as well, since several of them are clearly hidden Easter eggs. We have Captain Hook from Disney's Peter Pan, someone who's probably meant to be Captain Nemo from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Guybrush Threepwood from the Monkey Island games, and of course Captain Jack Sparrow. Well done, ESMA students. The siren's tail isn't oriented correctly, while the other foliage is moving with the current. This flower is perfectly still. This hand movement looks incredibly unnatural. Try it for yourself. You usually start with your pinky, not your pointer finger. For one frame, sparks show up as the siren brings up her hand, almost like she was supposed to have her hand on metal originally. But no, it's a bad introduction to the siren's underwater electric powers, which, at this point, we shouldn't even think about how that works. Otherwise, this video would be 45 minutes long. The pufferfish aren't as bright as they were in the previous shot. After the siren leaves the frame, her tail can be seen in the top corner of the screen just before the scene ends. The crest of the ocean's waves changes when the shot switches from the presea to the close-up of the siren. When the siren's head breaks the surface of the water, the waves don't react naturally to the disturbance. Eyelids don't stretch like that. Not even siren eyelids. The siren's hair acts like it's underwater by floating up like this, when they're in fact not. This jittery mess of a hair flip probably looked way better in the storyboarding phase. The ocean rotates in what is clearly meant to be a pan shot, but the sky doesn't. That was one twitchy wrist flick there, siren. Are you okay? The siren should have been crushed here, but miraculously, the ship stopped. Siren's hand is shaky on the ship. Perhaps she read ahead in the script. Also, with her hands on the ship, it really highlights the grainy texture work on both her hands and the ship. The siren's hand floats above her chest. It's too bad the water doesn't react to the siren's arms. The water's reaction to the fish giblets is way too exaggerated here, especially for water that doesn't react to a body moving around in it. Once again, the water doesn't match up, this time in its texture. The siren briefly freezes before the anchor lands on her. The siren cheats death yet again. That siren was able to teleport away from the ship after being crushed by the anchor. If this was meant to be a jump cut to later on after she freed herself, it was very poorly established, as there's no change in lighting or scenery at all. The siren is acting like a shark, despite the fact that if this were true, she'd be positioned like this. What is going on with this water simulation? The first few frames when the siren's fins break the surface look okay, but after that it's an ill-defined mess. I don't know how else to say this, and I know it might sound mean, but these water effects are terrible. Jimmy's animation is very linear and robotic when he peers over the edge of the ship, especially as he rests his left hand on the gunnel. This shot is even worse. Giraffe-necked Jimmy seems unable to pull his head in towards his shoulders, and the harpoon falls in a very unconvincing manner. It takes just 3 frames for Angus to spring into view, but another 5 for his facial expression to set in. This is an example of animation with good ease in, but bad ease out. When Angus attacks the goal, the motion blur is so strong on Angus's shovel that it all but disappears for a few frames. In Running to Never, we talked a bit about choppy editing and how shots cutting at random without being influenced by the narrative can leave your viewers confused. The same thing happens here. The framing and cuts of each shot are just all over the place. That swimming animation could use some work. It's not particularly graceful, especially for a siren who's meant to draw in sailors with her charm and elegance. It seems Jimmy's beard isn't fully attached to his face. The siren's tail flick has a lack of follow-through in its animation, making it look very floppy. That horrible seagull broke the siren's neck! Bodies shouldn't be able to move like that! There's an extra frame of motion blur on Jimmy's face at the beginning of the shot. What is the siren sitting on? She's not on the hull of the ship.
Handsome seller, take a look at me.
Jimmy's model is just being dragged by his jackstaff and barrels of rum towards the siren. This is just uncomfortable to watch, especially since, mythologically speaking, the seductive element of the sirens was never this literal. It was just a trap so the siren could cook some sailor-flavored fish sticks. Despite all that nonsense we just talked about, the animation does a poor job at convincing us that Jimmy is being pulled by his crotch. If you look at Jimmy's jacket, it's moving way too much to sell the illusion.
Come, baby.
What is the siren balancing on here? Even if she had knees, most of her legs, fin, are on the overboard side of the gunnel. Okay, that was actually funny, and I didn't see it coming at all. Well done. A strange dark line shows up after the siren falls, possibly Jimmy's chest hair texture stretching for a frame or two. You know that when a light bulb explodes, the light is supposed to go out, right? Whoa! Jimmy straight up becomes a ghost for a frame. I'm sorry. I just can't. These facial expressions are genuinely funny. The spikes on the siren's fins are larger than they used to be. The electricity box expands as it fills with electricity, for some reason. What can I say? This is such a good twist. Maybe 15 or 20 years ago it might have been tasteless, but nowadays, with LGBTQ representation on a slow but steady curve upward, yeah, I'm all for it. Angus's fingers barely move, and also don't touch his apron or his chest. In conclusion, this is a decent spin on the usual story of the sailor and the siren. albeit a bit predictable up to the ending. But the characters are well designed and expressive, and although the animation itself could use some work on arcing and fluidity, we hope this team will continue to create more animations in the future once they graduate from ESMA.
Why don't you do right?
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got myself into this situation. Well, it all started 2 days ago when my mom woke me up for school.
Being a pirate is a recipe